I think there's a big difference between a pitch and an idea. We all have ideas. This would make a great story. But what is the story? And what are the elements that are involved in that story? My name is Matt Glassman. I'm the Vice President of Regional Editorial for NBC News. Today we're going to talk about pitching stories. The Ward 8 program that Amy talked about, Rick's going to check into Sibley Hospital to see if they've got some sort of Legionnaires issue. The HOA fund missing that Tracy brought up, and then building with no heat are all things that are sort of on my list today. In the beginning of my career, for a lot of years, I was pitching stories to a lot of different kinds of platforms. And then as my career evolved, I ended up being on the other side of that, deciding what pitches we would greenlight or evaluating them. If you're coming to me and saying, I want to do a story on something, and you're saying, I want to do a story because I'm wondering this, versus I want to do a story and here's what the story is, that's a lot different.
Something that I have on my list that I thought was interesting, we shared the article, but
we want everyone to be able to pitch stories. We don't have the resources to greenlight every story. Let's figure out a process of how we can hear about all the different stories so that we can figure out what stories we want to greenlight. When you're pitching a story, I would do some pre-interviews. You want to find out what people think about the story that you're doing. You want to find out what elements there are. You want to find out who the good characters are. Somebody might look like a great character on paper, but you might talk to them on the phone and they might be very flat and monotone and not really bring the story to life. You want to get a good character or good characters.
I firmly believe that the biggest problem that we have in Philadelphia is generational curse.
Characters are important to a pitch because we want anybody watching television, when they hear the strong character, to look up from their cooking or their crossword puzzle or playing with the kids or their work and pay attention to the story. A character can tell the impact and the perspective in a way that a reporter can't necessarily always do. You want to know what your visuals are going to be. We obviously need to see something. There are some fantastic stories out there, but if there's nothing to show, we're just basically showing the reporter or rerunning B-roll.
This is the only machine of its kind in the world. Why is it important in the study for obesity?
What's the credibility to the story? Are there statistics that back it up? Is there something new that you've seen in the studies? Is there an expert who has been looking at this for a long time and can say, this is a big trend, or hey, I'm hitting a big red button here because we all need to pay attention to this and here's why. There are some considerations like cost, like how much time you're going to need to do this. Is there travel involved? That you need to understand what your news organization systems are for that. The biggest question that a pitch should answer is why. Why this story and why am I doing it? Obviously we know there's going to be a who and a what and a where and all that. But why has become so important in our industry?
We're going to hit a couple things off the top on what the prices are going to look like for a few different items. We're going to get some guidance from our expert.
This story happened and here's why it's important to you. What is the context? What is the relevancy? What is the perspective? What is the impact? All those are important words when you're writing a pitch, because you have to make sure that you're telling your viewers or your readers, your consumers, something that is going to benefit them or that they're going to learn from.
Porque él estaba haciendo referencia a su propia lírica, but then for the interview purposes, he translated it right there.
The strongest pitches are when somebody reads it and says, oh, I didn't know that. Wow, that's interesting. So if there's something that's new or you didn't know before, or if you have a new way of doing an old story, that's the stuff that's really great. All those kinds of elements in a pitch help someone decide, is this right for my show, for my broadcast, for my website, for my platform? And all of those go into consideration. I think that when some people send in pitches, they're thinking about things that interest them. And they're trying to explain what interests them to the person that's reading the pitch. And they're basically putting down all the ideas and the reasons why this might be a good story because they're interested in it. And I think that they really have to turn that around and think, what will the audience of this particular platform or broadcast be interested in this for? NBC has a lot of different kinds of newscasts. You might pitch something on the Today Show that wouldn't work on Nightly News. You might pitch something on Nightly News that wouldn't work on Meet the Press. So when you're pitching something, it's really important not to just explain what you like in the pitch, but explain what the context and the relevancy and the perspective and the impact will be on the viewers or the readers or the consumers of that platform. I certainly hope people don't take it personally when a pitch is turned down. Everybody's got a job to do, everybody's got good intent, everybody's trying to do the best that they can, and a pitch may not work for that particular moment. Maybe it's something that show or broadcast or platform has done recently. Maybe it just doesn't work with their audience. It's important to ask. You can ask the question, what could I have done better? Is there any way to improve this? For the most part, just say, okay, you know what? Let me think about it again. Maybe there's another platform I should pitch to, another producer I could pitch it to.
If we're looking for a lighter story at 1 o'clock today, the mayor and the fire commissioner are going to be honoring some dispatchers.
I don't know that there's an exact science to it. In fact, I'm quite sure there isn't, but there's an art to it. And there's an art to figuring out exactly what makes a good story for what you're looking at. And that's a good reason for you to be really, really invested in your news organization. Who's watching? What are they looking for? Who are your viewers? And what kind of viewers are already watching and what kind of viewers you're trying to get to watch, so that you can pitch stories with them in mind. Because if you're not doing a story for those people, who are you doing it for?